Guys, welcome both to the Mission Possible Sofa. This is our hub for Edie Live 2018, where some of the leading experts of sustainability can come, hopefully relax, hopefully it's a comfortable sofa, and just reflect, I suppose, on some key kind of trends in their sectors that they're faced with. So welcome first John Khoo, Innovation Partner Interface, and of course Caroline and Laurie, Head of Sustainability at Kingfisher. Great to get you both on the sofa because I realise you've both got a weird kind of timetable in terms of round tables and presentations, so we'll try and keep this brief and nice and friendly. And I suppose, Caroline, we'll start with you. You're doing a talk later on the importance of finding the right partners to help deliver a strategy with. So, I mean, I suppose that's the question then. How important is it finding these right partners?
It's not just important, it's absolutely vital. Everything from setting your strategy and your targets to driving delivery of those, and that partnerships is everything from sustainability organisations and external experts through to the suppliers within your supply chain. So really you can't do this on your own, you've got to open it right up.
And John, I mean, you're an interface, a prime example of working with the supply chain to deliver really innovative platforms like networks and what. So how often does that engagement have to take place to deliver such innovative platforms? And perhaps for our listeners, describe what Networks is as well, if they're not aware.
Networks is our inclusive business supply chain, where we partner with the Zoological Society of London and our yarn supplier Agfil to transform discarded fishing nets into yarn for our carpets, but also into opportunity, better livelihoods and access to finance for communities in the Philippines, Cameroon and Indonesia. For us, I think you've always got to be looking for where those partnerships are going to help your sustainability strategy or your business strategy. What I found with our supply chain is that when you have different kinds of partnerships, such as we have with Aquafil, where we went from a traditional buyer or seller to us going to their door and saying, can we provide you with a feedstock? It actually deepens your relationships. You get to know different departments, you get to know different leaders within the business, and you actually have more frequent contact, which is, I think, it's a real key benefit from those partnerships.
And yeah, it's a really interesting point of finding, I suppose, new sustainability champions in different areas of the business. I mean, you're speaking later on about that kind of employee drive of it. So in the theme of finding key partners, how do you go about finding those partners within other areas of the business, and how do you then motivate them and enable them to act on sustainability?
Yeah, for us, I'll talk about what we do internally. We've really worked for the last 2 decades on creating a culture where people feel empowered by sustainability. It's not something that's just coming from top to Kingfisher, another great example. And so we, whether you're working in human resources, whether you're working in sales, whether you're working on the factory floor, you have to be engaged on our mission, but you also have to feel that you can play a part. And another key thing is communicating that. So we should be celebrating the great things that the finance team are doing. And in our Northern Ireland factory at the moment, we've got our operations team and our factory floor team. They're working together to volunteer to kind of have a number of beehives on site to help us kind of promote the biodiversity around the factory, and that's been a great engagement. And what we've also found is that when you've got a business that works in many regions in the country around the world, it's great to share those stories all around.
And Caroline, I mean, at Kingfisher, the last few years has been a real change at the top as well. But I suppose, keeping with that theme of finding the partners across the business, how have Kingfisher gone about motivating individuals outside of the sustainability team to buy into your mission?
Well, the only way we're going to deliver our sustainability ambition is by embedding it in the core roles across the business. It can't be just the job of the 50 people who've got sustainability in their job title. So first off, it's about translating sustainability and losing the jargon. I think scientific speak can kind of kill this agenda. So it's about translating into something that's personally meaningful for all those teams. So if I'm speaking to buyers, I'm speaking about energy efficient products. If I'm speaking to the CEO and marketeers, I'm always translating this agenda into something meaningful and into business benefits for them. An interesting example is that we've got a great target that by 2020 we want half of our total company sales to come from products that make homes more sustainable. And that target is now embedded in the objectives of everybody who works in our offer and supply chain. So everybody who's choosing and procuring our products has that objective as part of their personal measurement.
And so, I mean, how do you, I suppose, with behaviour change internally especially, you're never going to get everyone to go the same direction. Sometimes there's just subconsciousness or a willingness but a lack of understanding. So how do you balance that compassionate thing of, okay, it's not a motivator for them, but also, okay, this is a key target you have to deliver. What's the balance like there?
I think with different people who are often pulling different levers. I mean, if we're looking at the work we're doing on renewables and energy efficiency, talking about climate change might not be the right box to tick, but talking about the paybacks and the return on investment we're getting, you're looking for that win-win, looking for the fact that our LED lighting growth outstrips our other lighting. Again, you're selling those commercial benefits, so you're making this a no-brainer for people, really. You're not always just talking pure sustainability, environmental benefits. You're talking to those core business benefits as well.
And I suppose, John, a similar question, because climate take-back is your overarching theme. It's hugely ambitious. So how did the conversations go internally about setting that and then thinking, okay, these are in place, and we've now got to engage with everyone to make sure they know what reversing climate change, turning factories into nature looks like?
So one thing about Climate Take Back was our new mission to run our business in a way that reverses global warming and creates a climate for life. It was generated by the workforce. It was part of us reaching out and saying, what should we be doing as a business? Now that we've got the goal and it was generated in part by our employees, it's now working out, well, within your sphere of influence in what you do, what's the role that you can play? And also creating a dialogue where our employees can question us about what's next, what's coming up, and if they disagree, let's have a discussion about it. I think that's a really interesting place to start. Embrace the challenge and have that discussion to explain why you choose it a certain way. And if you've had that dialogue, it's much easier to move on. People don't feel that they've been ignored. The worst thing you could ever do would be to ignore that challenge. And that's actually really the same if you're being challenged externally by your supply chain or by your customers. I think have that dialogue. That's the world we live in now.
And then how does the dialogue change for you when perhaps you're moving down the business to engage with staff compared to when you're approaching the board? Is the conversation still the same because sustainability is that embedded, or do you have to tweak your language slightly?
There are some common things. Yeah. I think within Climate Take Back there's that human message of we're in a challenging time, and there's a human message across the board that we need to be looking to protect our planet. But equally, you do have to adapt the language. You do have to, if you're talking to sales guys or you're talking to the finance guys, I mean, we're as a company, we still need to grow our business. We need to prove that sustainability is helping to do that. With our marketeers, it's how it differentiates us, how it boosts our brand. So it can be tailored, but there is that core. It's just a human kind of message that is, we want to do well and we want to do good.
And Caroline, I suppose on the topic of boredom, obviously Kingfisher's undergone a lot of top changes at the top, and they were a company that had a real legacy and leadership in sustainability, and they of course still do today. But how did the conversations change at all as this new kind of CEO came in? Was it accelerated ambition? Was it like, okay, let's just refocus? How did those conversations take place?
We at Kingfisher we are 2 years into a 5-year business transformation strategy called One Kingfisher, and as part of that we've set a collective purpose to make good homes accessible for everyone, and that's really allowed us to focus our sustainability efforts, because a good home is a sustainable home. And underneath our One Kingfisher transformation we've got 7 key actions, and one of those is to be a truly sustainable business, and our new plans around Sustainable Growth Plan is our roadmap taking us towards that truly sustainable business.
And I think it's good as well that there's a recognition that this isn't an overnight change as well. A 5-year roadmap is a relatively an ambitious turnaround in today's climate, with the need for long-term targets. And I suppose looking at the long term, I'm sat next to two people who represent 2 real leaders in the sustainability sphere. So for I suppose our viewers that are kind of watching, what advice do you give them if they want to take that next level and increase ambitions within their company? What skill does a sustainability leader need? John, perhaps you want to take that one on?
I'd say you need to think of yourself as being an entrepreneur, and you need quite a few skills along the lines of, you still need resilience.
Yes.
You still need some influence and some charm, and I think you also need to. I think it's a really good one. Being able to work out how to step into the shoes of the people that you're speaking to. That would be my 3. I was cheated there by giving you a full range.
Three's better than 1, that's always the case. And Caroline, same question to you, I suppose.
But I would absolutely echo what John said. I would avoid the technical language of sustainability. I think that can switch a lot of people off. So I see my job often as a translator, translating the technical world of sustainability into something personally meaningful to people throughout our business. And really talking about business benefits and making sure it's grounded in your core company purpose. So make sure it's not the 10th thing on a list of 10 things to do. Make sure it's embedded in everything the business does.
That's a really good piece of advice, actually, I think, as well. And obviously, our company, Edie, as our brand, we've tried to find our purpose over the last few months, and we've come up with Mission Possible, which is the theme for Edie Live. We launched a report yesterday, and we're trying to help businesses achieve their sustainable future. With that in mind, we do have a pledge wall off to my left, which can't be seen at the moment, where we invite any delegate here today to make a pledge related to sustainability. And I thought it'd be rather cruel of me just to spring that on you, and perhaps the two of you would like to make a pledge on the wall, if that's fine.
Definitely. We've got 12 2025 targets within our new plan, and I would like to pop a couple of those up there as our pledge.
Okay, that sounds actually brilliant. And John as well?
For us, we'll guide our customers from a low carbon to a neutral carbon to a carbon negative product future.
Two really, more than two really ambitious pledges there. And yeah, again, I appreciate you both got to do some prep for your presentations earlier. So thank you very much for your time, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.